You know, there's a certain kind of silence that only exists after midnight. Not the peaceful kind, not the hush of a sleeping neighborhood or a cabin in the woods. I'm talking about that unnatural silence. The kind that hums just beneath the surface, like the whole world is holding its breath. Like it knows something's coming. That's the kind of silence I lived in for 4 months straight, working night security at St. Elora's General Hospital, a half-forgotten facility tucked away on the edge of a snow-blanketed town in rural Ontario. You wouldn't find it on most maps. And maybe that's for the best. Back then, I thought it'd be easy money. A slow job. Empty halls. Maybe sneak in a few naps between rounds. But let me tell you right now, hospitals are never really empty. They breathe. They creak. And sometimes, they whisper. Especially when you're all alone, staring into the glowing green of a surveillance screen. And something stares back. This is not a story about ghosts. Not exactly. This is a story about a basement that shouldn't have existed. A door that never should be opened. And a feeling, like something with no face, and no name, was always watching me just beneath my feet. You ever take a job thinking it's gonna be easy money, just sit around, maybe sip some coffee, read a book, listen to the buzz of fluorescent lights until morning? Yeah. That's what I thought when I took the night security post at St. Elora's General Hospital. But let me tell you something right now, hospitals change at night. They breathe different. They sound different. They stop being places of healing, and start feeling like places that never really let go of the dead. It started in November. The first night I stepped foot into that hospital, it was cold enough to hurt your lungs. Ontario in late November don't play nice. The snow had already started to fall, and everything outside was locked in a grey freeze. St. Elora's sat on the edge of town, like a forgotten outpost. From the outside, it looked like something out in 1960. Weathered stone, iron bars on some of the lower windows, a flickering red emergency sign barely hanging above the main entrance. The kind of place that never gets fully quiet. Even the silence hums. Inside, the lobby smelled like disinfectant and old plastic. I remember thinking, it's cleaner than I expected, but not in a good way. It was too clean. Scrubbed. Like someone had tried to erase something. Orientation with Rick. The guy training me, Rick, looked like he'd been working graveyard shifts since Nixon was in office. Big mustache. Big coat. Eyes that didn't blink enough. He handed me a set of keys and a flashlight with duct tape wrapped around a handle. Keep to the main halls, he said. Check the cams once every hour, do a patrol twice a night. Don't go past the boiler room. And whatever you do, stay out of the basement. I chuckled. He didn't. I asked him what was down there. He lit a cigarette, right under the no smoking sign, and muttered, "Nothing that concerns you." Midnight, first walk through. I started my rounds at midnight. The whole hospital was like a museum after hours. No patients on my floor. Just empty beds, unplugged monitors, and the slow drip of faucets that no one had bothered to fix. There's something about long hallways under flickering lights that makes you feel like you're not supposed to be there, like the building itself knows you're trespassing. Like it's waiting for you to mess up. I passed room 207. The door was cracked open. When I peeked in, I saw a teddy bear sitting in the middle of the floor. Just sitting there. Alone. Facing the wall. No bed. No furniture. No child. Just the bear. I closed the door gently and told myself it was nothing. Back at the security office. The camera feeds were old black and white monitors stacked in a dusty corner. I flipped through them: hallway, empty lobby, elevator shaft, stairwell. Everything looked quiet, until I got to camera 6, the basement stairwell. There was something moving just at the edge of the frame. Like a coat sleeve or a leg, someone turning the corner. I sat up straight. Rewound the tape. Nothing. Just static. I watched it again. Still static. And then, I swear to you, the screen blinked like an eye, and for half a second, I saw something tall standing at the bottom of the stairs. Just standing. Not moving. Looking up. The elevator that shouldn't move. Around 1:15 a.m. I was making my way down the east hallway when I heard it, ding. Elevator bell. Now, that wouldn't be weird, except I was the only person on the lower levels. No nurses. No patients. No late night staff. Just me and locked doors. I turned the corner and saw the elevator doors sliding open by themselves. The light on the panel read, B2. Now listen, that hospital only has one basement. I checked the blueprints. Just a B1 for maintenance, supply storage, janitor access. There ain't no B2. Not anymore. But there it was. Glowing red. B2. I walked up slowly. The elevator was empty. But cold, like it had just come from the bottom of a freezer. And then I saw it. Inside, where the buttons were, under B1 scratched into the metal like it had been carved with a key, was another label, B2. No button. Just a mark. Jagged. Rushed. Almost desperate. Then, without warning, the elevator dinged again. And the doors slid shut in my face. As they closed, I swear on everything I heard a voice inside whisper, "Come down." I didn't go back to that hallway the rest of the night. I stayed in the security room, pretending to check cameras, pretending nothing was wrong. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was aware of me now. Not just watching. Waiting. I went home when my shift ended, climbed into bed, and stared at the ceiling till noon. I didn't sleep. And I didn't tell a soul. Because deep down, I knew that elevator was going somewhere it shouldn't. And whatever was down there, it wasn't finished with me yet. I came back the next night, pretending nothing had happened. That's how you survive in jobs like these. You tell yourself it was your imagination. A glitch. A dream. You lie to yourself just enough to show up again. But Saint Elora, that place doesn't let you lie for long. 11:42 p.m, a missing key. First thing I noticed, the keys were different. Same ring. Same number of them. But one was older. Tarnished. Looked like it hadn't been touched in years. Longer than the others, with a tiny B etched on the stem, not stamped, just scratched. I asked Rick about it. He didn't answer right away. Just looked at me, real slow, like he was deciding something. Then he muttered, "It's probably just a spare. For the boiler cage or sump access." I knew he was lying. But I didn't push. Because part of me didn't want to know. Camera 6, it was back. Same camera. Same angle. The basement stairwell. 1:07 a.m. movement. Again. But this time, it didn't vanish. There was a figure. Not a shadow. Not a blur. A person. They were standing at the bottom of the stairwell, head tilted slightly up, facing the camera. Motionless. Pale. I leaned in. The feed started flickering almost like static was crawling over their body. And then their head jerked. Not turned. Jerked. Fast and sharp. Like a glitch in a video. Straight up. Straight at me. I yanked the power cable from the monitor. When I plugged it back in 5 seconds later, camera 6 was offline. Just a black screen. And I could feel something behind the screen. Watching. East wing, the door that shouldn't be. I was making my second round when I passed the hallway near the old records office, a place I hadn't even noticed the night before. Mostly used for storage. Locked. Empty. Except this time, the door at the very end, the one marked mechanical access, authorized personnel only, was open about 6 inches. Just enough to see the darkness breathing behind it. And the air. It was different. Staler. Heavier. Smelled like whetstone and rusted metal. I should ve walked away. But the key, the old one, was in my pocket. And something about that open door was calling to it. I stepped closer. And then I saw it, on the wall just beside the door frame, faint, almost wiped clean, were 3 letters scratched deep into the paint, B2. Same as the elevator. Same jagged lettering. Same desperation. Descent. I turned on my flashlight. Stepped past the door. A staircase twisted down into the dark, narrow, and made of old cement. Each step creaked with age. There were no lights. No signs. Just cold, curling air and walls that dripped. About 10 steps down, I saw something written in chalk on the wall, "Don't let it see your face." That S when I stopped. That S when my brain, the part that still had sense, screamed, "Get out. Now." And that S when I heard the door behind me slam shut. Trap. I turned, ran up the steps, heart thudding, flashlight bouncing off cracked walls. But the door was sealed. No lock. No knob. Just gone. Solid wall. Like it had never been there. I stepped back, trying to breathe, trying to make sense of it. And that S when I heard something coming up the stairs below. Not footsteps. Dragging. Slow. Rhythmic. Like something pulling itself up. I didn't wait. I slammed my shoulder into the wall again and again until, suddenly, it cracked open. The door had returned. I stumbled out, slammed it shut, and jammed every key I had into the handle until the lock finally caught. Then silence. Just me, my breath, and the overwhelming urge to throw up. I didn't finish my rounds that night. I sat in the security office, eyes on every screen except camera 6. That one stayed black. But in the reflection of the monitor, I swear I saw something move behind me. Just for a second. I left a note. Before I clocked out, I left a note for Rick. Didn't say much. Just 6 words, "There's something alive in B2. I left the key taped under the desk. I didn't want it anymore. But I knew, deep down, it wasn't finished with me. Because when I got to my car that morning, covered in frost, there was a word written across the windshield, not with a finger, but burned into the glass, "Down." You ever feel like something followed you home? I ain't talking about a person. I'm talking about a presence. Like a shadow clinging to your back, but it ain't yours. After that second night, I told myself I was done. I wasn't going back. No sir. But St. Elora's that hospital had other plans. The call at 3:12 a.m. 3 nights later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost let it go to voicemail. But something told me to pick up. I did. And on the other end, was silence. Not dead air. Not static. Just silence, thick, aware, like something was breathing on the line, but refusing to speak. I waited. And then, barely audible, like someone whispering from across a frozen lake, you left the door open. Click. Footprints that weren't mine. Next morning, I checked my front porch. Snow was fresh, hadn't been touched. But leading from the sidewalk up to my door, were wet footprints. Not boots. Not shoes. Bare feet. Long toes too thin, too long, like they'd been stretched. The prints ended at my front door. But there were no prints leaving. Back to St. Elora S. I didn't want to go back. But sometimes, the only way to stop the nightmare, is to walk back into it. I showed up on my next shift, third and final night, wearing a cross around my neck and a flashlight taped to my chest. Rick was gone. No one at the front desk. Place felt abandoned. Security office smelled like mold and something burnt. All the cameras were off, every single one. Just blinking red lights. Except camera 6. That one was on. And it was showing a live feed of the main lobby. That's when I saw it. It looked like me. There, standing by the front desk, was a man, same coat as mine. Same height. Same posture. But his face was just wrong. It looked like someone had tried to build a copy of me from memory, but only got halfway there. Like skin stretched over something that didn't belong. And the worst part, it looked straight at the camera. Then smiled. Lockdown. I ran. Down the halls. Past the old X-ray room. Toward the front. But when I turned the corner, the lobby was empty. Not a trace. No footprints. No fog on the glass. Nothing. Except, the elevator was open again. Light glowing, B2. And scratched onto the inside wall, beneath the fake label, "I took your place." Everything was wrong. Back in the security room, things had changed. The monitors were playing footage of me. But not me from tonight. Me from before. Sitting. Eating a sandwich. Walking the halls. Then they started showing footage I'd never seen. Me opening doors I never opened. Me speaking to people I never met. Me walking into B2 and not coming back. Like it had recorded a version of me that was still down there. Trapped. And this version, this thing walking around now, it wasn't me. The final note. That was the night I stopped pretending. I grabbed the logbook. Wrote one final entry. To whoever reads this, if you're working the night shift, check the elevators. Watch camera 6. And whatever you do, don't look at it if it looks like you. What came after? I quit the next morning. Didn't give 2 weeks notice. Didn't pick up my last paycheck. Didn't even pack my things. But even now, even as I sit here telling you this, there are nights I wake up and swear I hear the elevator bell in my house. Just one ding. No more. No less. Sometimes I see myself standing at the end of the hall. Smiling. Because when you meet something that wears your skin, there's only one thing it really wants. Your life.